This is an ode to the boy child, to the men, many of whom have had to grow up before their time, who've had to adopt dominant narratives of manhood when dad left. Men and boys who never got to understand their feelings or even express them, mostly in a society that does not encourage boys to talk. Growing up with fathers who were emotionally absent, strict, less tolerant, and less reasonable. Many of us have had to step up and be men at young ages, but we need to understand that there were behaviors that we learned that weren't okay. Things that felt okay because they were always done. We must interrogate what Makhosazana Kubeka states in a thesis where she says that young men are caught between what their parents and societal role models have taught them to be and the changes in the gender relations prevailing in South Africa today. The Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities has blue-ticked the most vulnerable people in this country, particularly women. The New Dawn has not answered the calls for the crucial programmatic changes that center the boy child. There's been no meaningful reform or successes that this government can claim in the fight against gender-based violence. The fact is that South Africa is the most dangerous country for women in this world. This is a government that has shown itself to be out of touch with the realities of this world. And so the most pertinent question remains, what has been done? What claims will you make on this podium today? When we ask the department what type of leadership has been provided in coordinating government departments, they will tell you about the New Dawn. When you ask them what successes have been made in the past 3 years, they will tell you that they attend webinars. Perhaps the most simplest action is to start fixing the department's website so people can actually get access to information. Honorable Manisizo came up here and she spoke about the delay in the DNA test. Unfortunately, she should be asking the ANC to be able to speak to that because they are in charge of that. Just last week, Honorable Andrew Whitfield, my colleague, spoke about the crime stats that showed that 58% of GBV dockets have not been finalized for more than a year. The backlog in the DNA testing will delay justice for thousands of victims of violent crimes. This erodes the principle of consequences for criminal behavior and creates an enabling environment for violent criminals to thrive. In this House, we are more fortunate to worry about legislation, while women and children unfortunately have to worry about whether they will survive tomorrow or not. This government has indeed failed to uphold the rights of individuals, whether it be through the attainment of justice, security, or safety. Honorable Mbata came here and told us that the ANC has distanced itself from the convicted rapist in Kanaland. The fact of the matter is it's too late. You supported that mayor. He became a mayor because you supported him. So you cannot distance yourself now and tell us that you have distanced yourself. That is why my colleagues, Honorable Sharif and Honorable Ngobo, traveled 8 provinces in 2 months, visiting support centers, Tutuzela care centers, speaking to social workers, healthcare workers and doctors to understand the realities that they face on the ground. In the Free State, the Tsepong Victim Empowerment Center, we found files that were laying across the ground on the floor without security. These are rape cases. In eThekwini, we found GBV cars donated by Germany, gathering dust and not assisting victims in the deep rural areas of KZN. In Middelburg, Mpumalanga, we visited women's shelter that didn't even have security at the gate. And those women who were at that shelter had zero protection from the perpetrators they had tried to escape from. In Limpopo, we got to go to the Tutuzela Center where we found a lady whose face was slashed during a rape, and her only reliance was on a heavily understaffed and under-resourced Tutuzela Care Center. I raise these experiences today so that I can model what it feels like to put these frontline workers first. What we need now is to provide rapid and comprehensive responses to all forms of violence against women. We need to address the backlog of cases, the delays in DNA testing, and the availability of rape test kits in police stations. The justice system has a huge role to play in ensuring that all crimes against women and children attract harsher sentences. Perhaps government can start with those things, the basic things. Activists on the ground are telling us that it is not enough to have gender-based violence as a line item in an annual report or having GBV as a rhetoric in speeches. They want to know where is the money and the resources to keep them alive. They don't care anymore, and they shouldn't care about being respectful or palatable to us. And so today the DA joins with those voices to remind this House that government continues to fail to empower and equip and to stack up the resources that are very much needed to support NGOs, community organizations, support groups, health workers, social workers, because they've proven that they are obsolete. They can't do the job. And this is why the DA wants to take this moment to remember all those we have lost during the gender-based violence pandemic. And we call upon all men to rise up, not only with their words, but with their actions for 365 days of activism.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you.
Honorable